Can you get on the camera?
You have to.
Yeah, I did, man. It's cold open, baby.
Nick's micromanaging here at Thirsty Thursdays.
Yeah, you're live.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome
To Thirsty Thursdays.
to what, April edition? Is that what month we're in?
Well, this is the second April edition because remember the last one was when I got my COVID shot and I was sick for 2 days and we had to delay it a week.
Right.
So this is the second one.
Yeah, you're live.
Tonight we have
Hi, everybody.
Dr. Matthew Farber, which we're now
Thirsty
going to address
Thursday.
as Matt. April edition? If you're in this class, I think it's
This is the second April doctor because remember the last one was when I got my COVID shot.
Okay.
Or the doctor.
The doctor.
This is the second.
We also have Ryan Richards from Roy Pitz Barrel House, one of our co-founders. So, now
The doctor.
around in the. We also have Ryan Richards from Roy Pitz.
So they have a meeting tomorrow. We're going to go
Yeah,
Great.
In chat, if you think we should do that, let us know. So they have a meeting to make you happy. You got to make the public happy.
People
Also, like
In chat, if you think we should do that, let us know.
if there's any
It says we're looping again.
we'll fix it.
I got it.
There we go.
I just muted the Facebook one because it just popped up.
Okay.
That should do it.
Yeah, like,
I should do it.
Yeah, I heard that.
We're all
Let us
homebrewers.
Let us know, JB3. I think we took care of it, bud.
Yeah, we had the Facebook feed open and it was looping maybe. Still looping.
Still looping, guys, or are we good? And do you want us to do the intro again, so you know who we're talking to? Give us a little
We'll
feedback.
do a speed run.
I got nothing about it either.
Alright, so we're probably
Right. Dr. Matt Farber, Matt, Roy Pitz, Ryan, actually, right? That's your name?
Yep.
Yeah.
Roy or Ryan.
Cool.
Yep. That works.
Awesome.
Chris, Nick, Jimmy. Yay!
We're back, baby.
Alright, we did it.
Yes.
There's our introduction.
So let's I guess let's start with Matt. What's new with you in your world?
Teaching, as always.
Yeah.
Courses are always running, so I run the Brewing Science Certificate Program at University of Sciences, which is just down the road.
In comfy West Philly, right?
Indeed, yeah. So we met 2015, 2014.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's right when you started opening the program.
Just when your shop was about to open up,
Yeah.
connected, and
We were like, this is going to be a great idea. We're going to build a whole store around how many students do you have average?
about 15 a year.
Yeah, that's great.
15 years. I wish we thought that for that.
No, it's been a good relationship. You spoke with the Philly Homebrew Club. You spoke with Barley Eagle. You spoke with Aliens. We did that the Philly Sour presentation at the very beginning of the pandemic last year.
Yeah.
You're all vaccinated now.
Yeah, I just got my second dose on Saturday.
Nice.
Moderna crew representing.
There you go.
Yeah, Moderna.
Pfizer. Woo!
So sick.
I was good. So yeah, first shot I had a swollen lymph node on the side that I got it. That was about 6 days, but that was it. And then second shot I had a chill for only about 6 hours the morning after. That was pretty good.
So got to do a little Netflix watching.
Yeah, indeed.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even want to watch that. I was just curled up in my bed. I had to walk the dogs at one point. That was like the worst experience ever. I was like, all right, we're going to go about 20 feet outside the house, and that's all you got. You got to pee, do whatever you got to do because we're going back.
And I think you started something new with an old friend of ours, Dan Nooner. What's that?
Yeah, that's right. So last month we actually opened our Malt Beverage testing lab. So it's an analytical lab to support brewing industry. We get requests from a lot of brewers fairly often asking for help testing alcohol by volume, IBUs, to name a few things.
Yeah.
So we never really had the hands to do any of the work. So I got a grant from the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board last year to kick this off. So we brought on Dan, who's actually an alumnus of our program.
Yeah.
When he was a brewer at Chamonix Creek when he was in our program. Then he went to start the quality lab at 2SP. And he was there for the last 3 years until he came back to us.
Cool.
Excited to have him with us.
And that's like pro-brewers only, or?
It's not. We've talked a lot about how we might be able to offer services to homebrewers. there's a certain price point though, because we have to pay for our labor to do the test, so it's unfortunately not super cheap in terms of homebrewers. So
they spend money on their hobby.
That's why they do the hobby. They save money on
you can find our current services online. If you go to our webpage, it's usciences.edu/brewing science. Find in one of the links our lab, and you can find the services. But hopefully we can do an event for homebrewers, kind of like the Homebrew Day. I know that White Labs does,
which is tomorrow. I know 2 days from now, but it's still pandemic-y, so it's not really a thing.
Yeah, and that's actually how we started the program. So right before, in 2015, before we even launched the program, we did an outreach event for Philly Beer Week, where we went over to City Tap, and we said, bring homebrew, and we'll test it for you.
That's cool.
It was like round robin.
I do remember that.
Walked through, and we did. We couldn't do ABVs, but we could do final gravity with our digital densimeter, which is very accurate. We plated, gave everyone a plate. So they could try to plate their yeast and take it home. We did
like probrews, just like hiding in the line.
Could have been a good deal. Yeah, like $20 or something like that. And we had like a little mini panel for a little BJCP panel, like that sort of taste, kind of like what we're doing here today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I remember. I think there's a point where you gave me a whole bunch of plates, substrate plates, just like, and I was like, great, I'm going to sell these. Wait, what am I going to do with this?
So I'm going to cut you short there because I'm thirsty.
Cool.
This is called Thirstday, so we need to drink some beers.
Fair.
But we got a little catch. The first bottle we have here is one of Kirk's cylinders. He's one of the customers here. A lot of you probably know him. He's kind of a mad scientist of sour beers in Philadelphia. His house is crazy. I don't want to give it all away because I don't want to be talking about his house online. I'm just going to say there's a lot of beer in there.
What's the address, Nick?
The address is, actually, I'm not going to tell you.
Well, he's got a bunch of barrels and it's a cool place, right?
Yeah, super cool. He always has really good beers. These are all fermented with yeast that he's captured in and around his house. So it's kind of interesting. They are, later out. Makes this a little easier. He does cork his beers also, and I don't have a corkscrew. So I got a screw and a screwdriver and some pliers. So we're going to give this a go. Sorry, Kirk, if you're watching. I'm about to do horrible things to your beer. There we go. Look at that. That's going right in. Yeah.
Drum roll.
Drum roll. I mean, not quite yet. That will be when I stand up and try to pull it out.
Give him a second.
I got to screw it first.
I mean, technically, it is a corkscrew now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think.
All in one.
I'm going to go all the way through just because I want all the thread I can get. All right, here we go. You ready?
Yeah. Oh, God.
He's got it. You got it, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, it dribbled a little. Yeah, I like that. That was fun. I want to do that every time.
That's how you open a corked beverage without
That was working against admission right there. I mean, the beer's got.
There's another way to do it with your boot and everything, but it's carbonated. I didn't want to go there. Or if this was going to fail, I was going to pull out the saber. And everybody was a little scared of that.
Yeah, for good reason.
Yeah. So we're going to pour some out here.
So, talk about Kirk a little bit. I remember Kirk used to go up to Princeton Homebrew where the owner named Joe.
Yeah, that's where I got started. Over there.
Yeah, and he came in. Plus, I mean, he lived really close to the Fishtown store, and he would come in. And me and Nick were just getting into sour beers, like the Jolly Pumpkin beers and things like that back then.
Nice.
And he came in and was like Mr. Wizard. Like, oh yeah, like I remember one time he's like, I had to make a beer that was like 11% to kill off the pediococcus because it can't survive over that ABV level. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Like we might kill bacteria.
I don't know. Yeah, and I was just like, really? Like, so yeah. So this is a table beer, you said, right?
Yeah, this is table beer. It's only running in at like 3%. So we'll give. We got
Keep one for the camera.
that one right there. Put that one for. That's the best looking one.
That's better.
Got it. Clarity cam. Get it up there.
We need to get like the sound effects. So you want to throw down the clarity cam, and I will clean up the mess on there.
like idiocracy. Extra, yes, clear,
I mean, it's not going to be that clear because I did put it on its side on the way here. It's got a little shaken off, but it is what it is. So, cheers, everyone.
Salute. So you guys drinking at home too, hopefully, not just watching us all.
Yeah, definitely a nice red nose on that. I mean, that's the first thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's almost like fruit and blanket all in one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Like a
very
grapefruit
good.
covered
Yeah,
in blanket.
Yeah, it's a bouquet. It's lovely.
That bread, it's coming a little peppermint.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's nice. It's smooth. Like it's not. I mean, it's definitely tart, but it's not like super puckering tart.
Mostly bready.
Yeah, I think it's really dry.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Good job, Kurt. I actually he gave me this beer. He didn't even really know. He's probably not even watching, but he didn't really know that I was going to do it. I told him we were doing this, but he probably doesn't know that this one's going on. I basically got it because I delivered it in his bulk pie grain, and it was in my truck for like a week. I actually went out to Chicago with it in my truck and visited my grandmother. And it was me, the 200-pound dogs I have, and my girlfriend. And I had a cot, and the girlfriend had like a mattress on the ground with them. But the dogs are really big, and they like to push her off the bed. So she basically slept on the bag of grain.
Could be a worse place to sleep. Could be a worse place.
Our dogs are kind of jerks about that. I love them.
I mean, every good brewer's at least slept on a bag of grain.
Yeah.
I just got like grapefruit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they say it's like a grapefruit
I just
farm.
got a ton of grapefruit from.
Do you know how long this was in a barrel or anything like that?
I have no idea.
Okay.
He didn't really tell me much about it. He just said it was table beer, and I was kind of blocking traffic, so I had to keep on the way.
Yeah, I think it's it's really nice. It's really, really dry. I was surprised how dry it was. And you said tart. I push back on that a little bit. I don't get too much acidity on that, especially when I get like that Brett nose. Like I'm really expecting some tart.
What might be the extra carbonation from sitting in the car for 7 days too? But
No, this one's insane.
oh, I thought you said this one was.
No. The bag of grain was.
Oh, his bag of grains. Yeah.
His next beers are going to have a little bit of us.
You think Philly sour would be more tart or less tart than something like this?
Definitely more tart.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't pick up much acidity on this at all either. I agree, it's dry. I think it actually has a little bit of lingering astringency. I don't know where that's coming from. When I sit it down and I'm just sitting here, I kind of feel that on the top of my palate.
Yeah, I think that's
like acetic,
No.
like just like
Almost tannic in a sense.
oversparged grain kind
Maybe.
of thing.
Yeah.
like aged hops, like
Yeah.
out the ass.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. If you've oversparged your grain,
Yeah.
we have the luxury of pre-acidifying our sparge water. We had this problem, but we had this problem in all of our beers in the early days of our lab. Could be.
I remember John Palmer came and spoke one year, and he kind of said like oversparging on the East Coast and getting tannins is significantly harder than the West Coast over the water supply. I don't know. It was very water concept discussion that I kind of nodded out on a little bit because water's pretty. Yeah, but I remember he was like, like
It's a lot of information over a long period of time.
like oversparging on the East Coast, I guess from the water supply is not as it doesn't happen as easily as it would other water supplies.
I would presume it has to do with hardness and, more importantly, the bicarbonate. Bicarbonate's going to buffer that water against pH change.
Yeah.
So usually that bicarbonate, if you have hard water, you also have high bicarbonate.
Right.
Balance like that. And so you might be, I guess, resisting some of the pH change that otherwise you'd be stripping out of the water.
Right. Right.
Now, for the viewers at home, could you elaborate more on what oversparging would be? What do you mean by that?
So, I mean, this was like, do you remember, I think I asked you about a Berliner Weiss that turned purple a long time ago? Do you remember that? I don't know what it was, but I got into this big Berliner Weiss thing. I'm sure you remember that. I was making Berliner Weisses like every week. And, but I was like,
I really didn't like when you were
Something
doing
apple.
the sour sparges or the sour.
oh yeah,
sour
when
mashes.
I blew up the house,
Oh,
yeah.
it smelled like vomit in there.
But like, my thought was like, so if you're doing a 5-gallon batch, right? and they say you're supposed to sparge with X amount of water, but there's only 6 pounds of grain in there. Now, how are you gonna because the sparge water ratio was based off of the final volume, but if you only have a little bit of grain, you're gonna over sparge, right? So what would you?
So you're talking about volume of water as opposed to like temperature.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you can extract temperature tannins through like a high temperature sparge water as well.
Yeah.
But
Over 170-ish. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for commercial brewing, you're monitoring the lauter. You're monitoring the beer as it's running off, so that you can try to check the pH. So you can over sparge. You can sparge to your heart's content as long as that pH of what's coming off of the grain is not over 6.
Okay.
But that being said, you want to try to have as much volume in the mash as possible.
Right.
To sparge. And actually, the brew in a bag method is really great.
Yeah.
And I think can also help.
Yeah.
There's some smaller breweries that are doing brew in a bag on a pretty large scale, which is interesting.
I don't know about that one, but
One
Yeah,
New Jersey.
grains. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know this for sure, but I would assume your efficiency is pretty bad once you start scaling it up. So it's a great homebrew technique. Probably not a great.
And that's probably close to the density of the grain bed, right? Like you do a brew in a bag in a homebrew scale, it's like this big. But you do a brew in a bag, a 3 barrel. Now your grain bed's this big, and you're never going to get the sugars out of that middle of that.
And
bar.
you're not sparging, right?
Right,
You're
yeah,
just
exactly.
lifting it up, and everything that's left behind in the bag is wasted.
Right.
So,
So,
I think at the end of the day, every brewery is going to have like their own process too, and it's going to be dependent on the equipment.
Yeah.
I know at Roy Pitz, we're pretty consistent with every kind of like 20 barrel batch that we do. We're looking for a consistent kind of viscosity in the mash.
Yeah.
Like a grain to water ratio, and this always works for us. Always holds the same temperature.
Yeah.
Always gives us good results.
do you know? I think I don't know. Beer, or we?
Yeah, we should
Right,
probably move on.
let's move on, and then let's talk to Roy a little bit, because the quiet man in the corner, and we haven't gotten. I know.
Let's get another beer in them, and then
Put you on the spot. We'll drill him with some
It's
questions.
that long drive from the country. Waking up.
Out in the country.
Not your bedtime now, is it?
Real. I got two little ones at home, so
Well,
Hey now.
5 and 2.
Okay.
yeah, we're about on the same page. 8 to 6.
We do stress, how succeed.
So Ryan
Oh,
named his,
yeah, okay.
his firstborn after a grain. So I mean,
I thought you were gonna say me.
no, Ryan, his firstborn is named after a grain. Can you guess what her name is?
Vienna.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you guessed it right off the bat?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. I mean,
Pilsner.
What do I-
My son Pilsner. Yeah.
one of my
Now I want a kid.
one of my daughter's best friend's name is Vienna.
Oh, no.
Yeah, sweet.
my second guess was Merritt's Otter.
Yeah, and there's not too many like grain names that work really well as
Carabelge.
names other than Vienna.
I mean, you could do Cara Red. You could do any of the Wyman product.
Yeah, there's
Carabao,
there's some
Carabao.
sexy grain names out there. You gotta look into
Just call her
some of the
Chit.
French specialty malt stuff.
Maybe I'll chill them.
Now get real abstract there.
Right.
So you said you long drive from the country. What's the country?
Oh, Chambersburg, which is actually turning into like a small little, new suburb of a city. I mean, it's getting populations really blowing up there, and people flocking in from cities. It's only Chambersburg is about like 90 miles from Baltimore, about 90 or so from D.C.
Yeah.
Philly's 2.5, Pittsburgh's 3, New York City's 3.
So it's centralized locations.
Yeah, we are
Yeah.
stuck in the middle there.
Just tons of warehousing and job, just with,
Thanks, sir.
job openings everywhere.
You need to set this table
And
up.
tons of farms. So it's it definitely, when I was born and raised there, it was country through and through. Like I had cornfields part of the island.
Yeah.
Now there's cornfields or restaurants and housing.
Right, a lot of chilies and Applebee's too.
Yeah, exactly. Chains.
Rural,
We're right off the
rural
highway
area.
too. So.
And so that's where our first brew pub and production facility is, and Ryan heads that up still and lives in Chambersburg.
Okay.
And I'm in Philadelphia, so that's kind of know how it's all set up.
Well, you were up there too, right?
Yeah, I lived there for 5 years.
Yeah.
Brewed all our beer for all that time.
Yeah.
And when we had the opportunity to open the Philly spot, I transitioned
That's
to
awesome.
Philadelphia.
So most distribution still going through Chambersburg? And then,
Yeah, most of the production's done there, and I'm
Yeah.
just doing sour program.
Yeah.
Essentially.
That's
All right,
awesome.
well, let's introduce this next beer. I actually gave you the bottle, so
This is from Aaron Spence. And Aaron and Troy Spence.
Aaron and Troy Spence.
So it's
Okay.
a homebrew.
It's a pale
Yes.
ale. Yeah.
It's a pale ale. You got it on the 30 can there.
And I will in a second.
Just standard Pale Ale, nothing else.
Nothing crazy, yeah. Well, I believe it was supposed to be an IPA, but things didn't work out, so now it's pale ale.
Cool. That's what
We're always looking for a session pale ale. Right?
That's homebrewing, man. You got this beer.
malty. It's hoppy. It's not IPA hoppy, but
It's got a nice little nose to it.
yeah.
Almost like perfume.
Aaron's been having some trouble hitting his numbers. So I brought him over here. We brewed some beer the other day. He nailed his number.
Awesome. Do you know why? What the?
He's been using, I don't want to trash talk brewery, recipe writing programs.
Yeah.
He was using one that wasn't working great. I recommended a different one to him.
Yeah.
It seems to be working a lot better.
Yeah.
Were the ingredients like off, like the ratios off or something? Or?
Yeah, he uses the Anvil, the all-in-one electric John. And it's just different profile for each one. I turned him on the one we use. We ran through it that way, helped him write the recipe, and we kind of bang on.
This is great. I don't really get anything off on this.
Yeah, it's nice and dry.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
That's not bad at all.
extract or partially grainy, partially.
We're all great.
It's all great.
He's using the Anvil with the all grain.
You'd be surprised at the amount of homebrewers now that are just straight to all grain.
Yeah.
With these
The electric
equipment.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the electric systems like the Anvil, it's like an all-in-one, basically a
Brew in a bag.
Brew in a bag system.
with
Yeah.
a stainless steel jacket on the inside, and the whole thing is like $400.
So you don't know smart out. Wish I had one of them when I
Yeah,
was
you
started
can
doing
pick
that.
the-
You don't even need a brewery.
You pick the arrow thing up, put it on top, and then pour water on top.
Yeah, it's not like a
Not
real.
real.
You can technically sparge with
Yeah.
it, but it's more of a brew in a bag than it is like an all green system where you're circulating.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it has a pump. Got all that.
You can buy a
It's as
pump
far as you want to go.
secondary,
It's just a platform to build off.
Yeah, it's
Do
really
you know what hops are in
Yeah,
it?
that's a great question.
I don't know. Aaron, if you're watching, Aaron and Troy, if you guys are watching, give us a little bit more info. I think he was trying to make an Alpha King clone. Floyds Alpha King clone.
You know, I used to love Alpha King.
Is that a pale ale?
Actually, no, Alpha King's still great.
That's
Zombie,
big, right?
Zombie Dust, no, 3 Floyds.
Is it 3 Floyds?
Yeah, Zombie Dust is awesome, but I think it's changed a little bit. It's a little bit more malt forward than I think it used to be.
Zombie dust.
Yeah, and I don't like it as much as I used to. But I still like it. I'm not knocking it in any sense. It's
Would
still
you like
great
it
beer.
more like when you were like in Chicago or something and you were getting fresh?
Well,
Yeah,
I always drank it really when I was getting it fresh.
Yeah.
Because my grandmother was in Chicago. I passed by 3 Floyds all the time. I actually had a beer that I picked up from 3 Floyds that we'll be trying today.
All right.
It is a watermelon sour running in at 10.4%.
Oh,
Unicorn
fantastic.
Unicorn beer. So we'll get to that later. That's going to be like to finish it off.
Cool.
Um,
That's the only thing I just like with, especially like hyped up hoppy beers. You know, if they just sit around for a little bit of time, they don't lose those hops. That just goes for any dry hop beer. You know. So, that could be
I
that.
would
But
say the difference
maybe
though
the recipe's different.
is like draft beer seems stand the test of time with that. Like if you have a nice dry hop quality craft beer that goes in cans, draft the same day, draft is going to stand the test of time. It'll last, I think, several longer and keep that freshness, integrity of the hops.
yeah,
And
the
everything.
stainless steel and the
I've really been
steel.
blown away by those different
Less headspace.
Well, and also
Yeah.
it's complete oxygen-free filling, right? Because
Right.
like
Yeah,
all
they're
canning
kept
lines
cold
going to be
usually
exposed.
all the time.
Not getting any sunlight in that keg.
So,
Yeah, it's an excellent vessel.
Kegs.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah, well,
They've been using them for a while.
It's like they're pretty
I
good.
think people like them.
I was
Yeah.
reading online, some people were like doing homebrewing in just kegs now and using transfer from one keg to the other to try to cut down on that oxygen.
That
Yeah.
too.
But,
Fish is big on no oxygen.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very interesting to see homebrewers kind of taking what is done in a professional standpoint and how they're breaking it down into a homebrew standpoint.
Form?
I hear something.
Something going on out there.
Yeah, it's supposed to start raining.
Ah.
What else? You guys got any other beers on this beer?
Maybe a little bit of oxidation from the hops. Who knows? But I don't taste it.
Yeah, I can see that. A little mustiness.
I think it's a really drinkable beer. I was a little concerned when I smelled it and looked at it that it was going to be a little bit too forward on caramel malts. And I think I feel what you were saying about those beers of old that we really cut our teeth on and really drank a lot of back in the day, IPAs, pale ales that had a lot of caramel malts. And
yeah,
I've gone back to those beers too, and I don't like them anymore.
Yeah.
And they also seem too malty to me. And I just wonder if it's our tastes have moved away from those caramel malts.
Totally could be. Because like it's not really the thing now, or to put a lot of caramel malts in there, and their IPAs seem to be a lot drier now than they used to ever.
More hop forward.
I mean, it used to always be like
More aromatic hop forward.
For
it used to
sure.
be like 10% minimum on caramel malts.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, what do you guys see like when you're selling recipes for IPA? Caramel malts in there anymore?
A lot of haze. It's a lot of New England right now.
Right.
So, yeah.
So no caramel?
Not in those at all. That's
Straight flaked.
So if there is any in this beer, I think
it's a good
right
amount.
amount.
Yeah.
I think that's
Mm-hmm.
you know how Germans when they're building recipes, one or two malts, and those, you know, even if they're building something might be on top of your side,
Right.
Yeah.
very light on
Yeah.
light on special malts, but they're always spot on.
Less is more, nice blank canvas for gang hops.
Less is more.
Is that right?
For those at home that don't understand what that meant, his last name is Les.
It was used to be on my
I was
resume.
sitting here and I didn't understand what it meant.
Nicholas
Yeah, you're welcome.
Nicholas Less.
Less is more.
I have a kid, I'm naming him Richard.
Nicholas.
Only if it's a boy though, right?
Girl.
Be more appropriate.
All right, so we're on for the next one. The brand new classes.
What's the next one?
We don't know.
I will tell you.
Feedback on
You
the
took that
top.
off.
Any feedback on this?
Not yet. No.
Okay, that's
That's
the second.
I'm thinking Citra was in there, but I don't know where you did.
Ask away. Ask Troy and Aaron what they did. They're watching.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Brian, Aaron, what hops were in that last beer that we tried?
Wait a second.
Ooh.
So this one,
Model with the magic card. Good start.
yeah, this one is a Belgian Triple done by my friend Nick. He had the brown ale last time.
Yeah.
New brewer. This is probably like his third beer or so. And he's been hitting me up online, asking for hints and tips. This one's called the Berkeley Marmoset, and for all you Magic friends out there,
Marmoset.
it's actually a Magic card. We'll throw it on the 30 cam so you can see it in a second. I feel bad about the 20 cam ones that I brought because they were in my bag all shaken up.
Can I see that magic card before you go?
Yeah.
See what we got here.
I didn't realize that magic card was actually on.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
A little.
He
magical
says
monkey.
Columbus and
Nice.
Warrior.
Columbus and Warrior?
So
So
Columbus and Warrior.
That's it? So just
Wow.
bittering hops? No final?
Interesting.
Oh well, I mean, if you guys want to elaborate a little bit, go for it.
Ask him if he wants to buy any Warrior. We got a hop contract. We can get rid of.
What do you guys want? Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want to back up real quick to that last beer before you
Okay,
get into
like for Warrior in that beer, that was solid. Like I like the
Sure.
flavor of that.
this. Warrior was always my favorite.
I like
that.
that.
That didn't have
with
any
that hop.
aroma hops. It was only those two bittering hops. And you can use Columbus as the aroma, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to use Warrior all the time for battery. I wouldn't use much of it.
You don't need.
Cool. So moving on, right? We
Yep,
got,
so this is the Belgian Triple.
I was gonna say, like, I was like, this is definitely.
Yes, the starter gravity and stuff on there. I don't know.
Yeah, they can see it all. It's started at 8, ended at 10, 9.4
Getting on the
ABV.
nose.
9.4%.
A little bit of phenolic, a little bit of clove.
Really?
Yeah, I get some clove. I get a little like bubble gum on that.
Yeah, definitely a little bit.
Definitely the bubble gum. Like the phenols, I would put more on the, like, for me, what I get is like more banana.
Yeah, it's like straight banana
Yeah.
bubble gum.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Out of the name.
That's pretty great.
Not
That
bad.
is nice.
I like it's got that, that Belgian yeast flavor. Dries out nice. It doesn't. It's a little sweet in the up front, but then it dries out nice.
Nice carbonation on it.
Yeah, carbonation.
Even like the carbonic volume on the tongue.
Exactly.
I mean, for 3 beers, this dude is.
Dude, all right.
You're doing pretty damn good. Glad you're.
Yeah, that is wild. That is.
So is he in the chat? If you are, I want to know what your percentage of simple sugars were. Because
It tastes like old.
Yeah, it really does, man.
Yeah, they kind of
That's
nailed
like
that.
really what he was trying to go for too. He was saying it.
And he did it.
I was thinking
Gold,
same
He
thing.
did it. That's what they
You
said.
said it, but I was
You
like,
did what?
He did it. It tastes like gold.
Oh yeah. Did also Nick, if you're on here, I forget what yeast you use. I know he actually put it in my Discord, the recipe, and it's on my Discord.
We're not doing all that.
I don't want to go through all that. You can find the pictures of me in my underwear.
That's all the clicking is. I'm not trying to find those right now.
Just
show it to the people. Man.
Yeah, I know, right? Talking about give people what they want.
I am kind of sexy in my underwear.
Maybe in like
Everybody
3 years
is,
we
man.
could get a live show.
We got a table. I
We
go
can,
to-
You guys go to the OnlyFans,
The doctor.
bro.
Excuse me.
Who?
The doctor.
The doc.
Doesn't work.
All right.
Got some nice mouthfeel to it.
Yeah, it really does.
So you want
Really good.
to talk about
Self-promotion.
Yeah, let's do a little self promotion here.
Where should we start? Philly sour.
Yeah, I mean, well, we have a Philly sour beer that is brewed from actually one of our employees, and also he's just got a job at
A brewery.
Around Boardwalk.
Forgotten Boardwalk. Thank you. So we'll have that in a little bit. So if you want to talk about the book,
Yeah, well, this would be a good segue into the sour beers.
I wrote a book. Nice. So this is actually a book, Mastering Brewing Science. We published it by Wiley. Clarity Cam.
Larry Cam.
nice.
Is your name on it somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh, it's right there. I would probably
should show
name it
it
a really good phantom name, but I don't know.
Thank you. So maybe some of the watchers at home can tell us where I took the cover photo. It's a Philadelphia brewery. But regardless, it's a book that we wrote to help support the curriculum of our program. There's a lot of great books out there.
Are you going to offer a scholarship if anybody guesses it?
I will give them $1 and a beer.
You'll get a tip.
I won't guess out loud.
So this is essentially our curriculum in a book. And there's a lot of great books out there, a lot of great homebrew books, but for commercial brewing, never found that there was a really good textbook that had enough basic information, get everyone up to speed on basic science, basic process, and then also troubleshooting. Troubleshooting problems, process, how that can be done. So
Is that like off flavors troubleshooting?
there's some off flavors in there.
Is it
efficiency
like science,
issues.
microbiology focused?
Exactly. So we have 2 chapters. One is the chemistry here, and one is the biology. No brewing.
That's awesome.
Brewing book that I know of on the market that has a biology chapter.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think there is.
Why would you need that?
And so everyone always recommends, if someone wants to learn about biology, everyone recommends Chris White's yeast book, which is a great book, but I think also didn't get into enough depth of biology background for brewing. So this is a textbook, and it has unfortunately a textbook price tag, but it.
So I was about to say, could we get it in the store, and would it be a thing for a home brewer? I think you just answered.
It's about $100.
Yeah.
For Wiley. So if you go to University of Sciences, you can access it for free through the library. So, plug for any U Science students out there.
That's
And
great.
there will be no piracy talked about on our website or anywhere that we're related to, because this is a friend that we don't want to pirate from.
Just to go back to that last beer, he mentioned he used Omega Belgian A,
Okay.
and about 13% of the whole grain bill was actually candy sugar.
So, guess as to cover
I just say yards.
It is indeed yards.
Oh yeah, new yards facility, right?
Yeah.
So did you actually set up the grain and stuff in the hops?
No, that's Photoshop.
Oh,
Yeah.
Little inside baseball.
I thought Keogh was out there.
Yeah, I
selling
did that.
some-
I did that in the lab with just some leftover ingredients on white paper.
You did that?
Yeah.
Nice. See, like homebrewing right there.
DIY.
A mad
With the cover of
scientist,
my-
ladies and gentlemen. A mad scientist.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's
It looks like it
impressive.
was 2019 though, so it's
Yeah,
like
you
2
got
Oh,
it.
yeah, the grain looks a little bit
August
larger now
2019,
that I'm
yeah.
staring at it.
Yeah, so it's
Like
you
grain like that big.
I guess you came out with that pandemic hit, and then
You talking about our students?
no, is this a textbook for the students?
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
but I mean, people have been adopting it all around the
Yeah.
country, using it as references. And of course,
That's great.
again, it's more geared towards commercial brewing, but there's so much to learn for home brewing in the process, the theory, the understanding of the underlying science of the process.
Yeah.
You can figure out ways to improve your process if you understand how it works.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you want to jump right into the Philly sour, we can.
Let's get a sour beer first.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'll pull it out while you guys are
Cool,
chatting
yeah.
about it. And there's you mean.
Yeah, please,
Yeah.
thanks. Not that it wasn't great, but I gotta watch those big ones.
So I think, Philly sour is kind of the first time got on my radar. I think I heard some podcasts on Brewing Network, started popping up, and online and stuff. And the biggest thing was people didn't think you could get lactic acid out of yeast, and I was probably one of those guys.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just kind of talk about how you found it. How you discovered it was producing lactic acid, and how you knew there wasn't bacteria producing that.
So in my
Just kind of
teaching,
the journey.
yeah, in my teaching, I always try to engage students in meaningful work. Right? It's not just learning like just plate this and figure out how to plate something and do it, but actually try to isolate something from the environment while learning how to make plates, while learning the techniques of plating.
Right.
So you actually have some purpose to learning all these techniques. And so undergraduates in my lab, students in our brewing science program, for example, in our microbiology beer lab, they go out into the environment, they bring back samples, and we try to isolate fermented yeast.
Awesome.
Way back, over 5 years ago, I had a student who was an undergraduate, actually, not in the brewing science program. He brought back some samples from a local dogwood tree. We enrich for them. We look for fermentation activity. We then
Enrich for them.
Is this
yeah,
the
so
blueberry
we'll
cobbler?
take so for example,
The blueberry
we'll take a piece of
cobbler?
bark and we'll put them into work, and
Yeah,
then
just
we'll
change
look
color.
for activity. Now,
Blueberry-
we'll spike
blueberry
it
cobbler.
with a little bit of ethanol. We also, thankfully, being a research lab, I have access to antibiotics, so we're adding like penicillin streptomycin to cut out any bacteria. So be present.
So ethanol and the antibiotics are to kill bad pathogens, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
And
so
to
it's
select
first selective
for
pressure.
to select for yeast.
Okay.
Exactly. Selective pressure. Yep.
Okay.
And then we're looking for activity. So
Sure.
and we could be as technical if we wanted to be measuring it, to weighing it, but often we're just looking for bubbles
And smelling.
and checking it out for aroma, flavor, and not
Looking for
flavor,
mold.
right? Because it's still my
Okay.
research lab.
Sure,
But,
sure.
we check pH, and so
Sure.
pH is another important indicator. We're obviously checking gravity, but pH is another really important thing to monitor when you're dealing with trying to isolate things from the wild, because no known pathogen can grow in anything that's below a 4.5. So considered food safe if it's below 4.5. So we're also checking these things for pH, and we checked this one, and it was 3.2.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And
That's
here,
insane.
for
And
those
that
of you at home,
was
it's around
already
4.2.
that was already an isolated yeast, and you
We hadn't
fixed that.
isolated it yet. This was a piece of bark from dogwood that went into a worked sample.
So
Yeah,
great,
50
great,
conical.
great.
Yeah. So,
Great.
and then
Point that part out.
and then we isolated and cultured, right?
Okay.
But we already noticed that it was pH of 3.2.
Did you think you had bacteria in there from that?
Absolutely. So, and I did taste it,
Yeah.
and it tasted good, because that's then the
Yeah.
real big clue.
It sure
Right,
is.
right.
And so if there's bacteria in there, all right, let's figure it out. So we played it,
Right.
and there's clearly two different yeasts in there.
Huh.
Because when you put it on a plate, they grow in colonies. They have different colors and shapes depending on the identity or type of yeast.
So plating
And
is just a way to streak out the liquid and then
Exactly,
grows
and
the individual yeast cells or bacteria cells.
Yeah.
And can pick them off, right?
Yeah, this is like a Jello nutrient auger
Right.
that's on a petri dish that you dilute so that you're hoping a single cell lands at a single part of that plate,
Lovely.
and then it grows into this little mound of cells that looks like a colony.
Awesome.
And so we could tell there were two, and so the Philly Sour original designation was GY7B. GY Graveyard strain number 7 out of a dozen or so samples, and then there was an A and a B.
Wow.
And I think A was interesting. It ended up being like a Hensenia spora, which could have some utility, but when we then took those and tested them individually, GY7B clearly was still sour.
Wow.
And it blew my mind because no one was talking about lactic acid yeast stuff.
Right. Is there more now?
It's all bacteria.
A few people have started talking about it. A couple years ago, Charlie Danforth published a paper on the Shansia thermotolerance. I have a friend who runs Wild Pitch Yeast out of Indiana. We went to graduate school together,
Right.
and he's found some lactic acid. And as far as I know,
It wasn't at the bottom of one of your bottles, was it?
no. And when we have a lot of data to suggest that this is a unique strain, that it's really something special, and it makes good beer compared to some
On
of these
that note,
other
let's get it
strains.
down, right?
So this is a blueberry sour using a Philly sour from James Holland. We spoke about earlier. And oddly enough, he worked at U Sciences for a little while. He's trying to get into the program, but now he's working at a pro brewery. So.
Yeah, I don't know if James is listening. We've still not officially met because he started working at the university, reached out to me about taking some of my courses as an employee, and found a job as a brewer before any of that could actually happen. So we've not actually met. James, thanks for the Philly Sour Brew.
Yeah, for
If
sure.
you're listening.
So I have a question about this. Like, I've noticed this in quite a few people have used Philly sour yeast. You have that little bit of breadiness flavor in the background. Is that like a characteristic of this yeast?
Yeah. And we don't yet really understand what that is or where it's coming from, but it definitely gets pulled out of wheat. I don't know if there's wheat in this recipe, but it definitely moves more to the forefront with wheat in the recipe.
Wasn't sure if I was just crazy or just something that I was actually picking up.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know Hannah from she was at Freewell, now Naked Brewing. She's described that as a flavor that she pulled out of a lot of traditionally soured beers that are wheat based, and she was shocked that she was getting it out of the Philly sour. Because this is a yeast that you just add to the fermenter like any other yeast, and it gives you some complexity and flavor, but also lactic acid and ethanol. I mean, we're describing how I isolate it, and maybe we didn't actually describe what it does. It makes lactic acid first, and then it finishes with alcohol. So you're getting both.
Oh wow! So ultimately it'd be kind of like kettle souring, or you're gonna automatically sour it ahead of time,
Right.
and then
You're essentially fermenting a sour wort.
not like that.
Nothing like kettle souring because you're making wort just like you would make wort. You're putting it into your fermenter like you put it in a fermenter, and then you're pitching yeast like you pitch a yeast.
Well, I mean, like you pitch yeast after the kettle souring, so it's still like the pH drops before ethanol production starts.
Well, during the
You're
course of
fermenting a
regular
sour wort, basically.
No, I mean you're fermenting a regular wort.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just sours it more than your typical ale yeast.
Yeah.
Right. Your ale yeast will drop the pH a little bit. Right. Your wort is around 5.5. Your finished beer is 4.2. So your ale yeast are creating acid, lowering that pH. It's just we know Philly sour is pumping out lactic acid.
Right.
Do you get consistent lactic acid production?
You can, but it's like a dial, and there's a lot of things that you
Yeah.
can turn it.
What's the biggest dial? Temperature, oxygen.
Yes, and not so much oxygen. Temperature plays a role. It's actually more tied to simple sugars. So adding glucose to your mash as an adjunct, dextrose, can help really drive acidity forward.
Oh,
I've had some
Yeah.
really tart beers made with Philly sour. This
Nice.
this is like subtly tart. Right? You can tell there's a little bit of tartness there, but you wouldn't necessarily call this a sour beer. I've had
It's
some
pleasantly tart, though. I mean, it's definitely pleasantly tart.
This is like where I like to draw the line on sour. Like,
Yeah.
if it's a much more sour than this, then like like
don't come to
maybe
Roy
2
Pitz,
ounces.
buddy.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, compared to Roy Pitz beers,
Yeah.
you know, this is barely sour.
Yeah, we're
I like the
not
ones that are sour. This is good. I don't mind a little bit. I actually do have a question though for like you guys opened up the like the brewery processes side where people send in plates or send in stuff to get tested. Can they send in like samples from their local environment and try to get yeast picked out from that?
Yeah, I mean, we have a service for yeast isolation. So if you had a capture that was your bread and butter and you're really excited about it, we can isolate it for you. And we can also identify it down to the meanest.
What was that brewery in Texas that was doing something similar to that?
Bootleg biology.
No, well, yeah,
It's in Virginia.
Yeah, no, it was in Texas,
Oh, sorry.
and they were literally just putting up like you know, the whole cool ship thing, but they were putting up just like little pieces of Tupperware board outside.
Chester King, I think?
Chester King, yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they finally, I guess they isolated something in a non-lab environment, brewery environment.
Yeah.
And then they out of the whole piece of Tupperware, they poured, you know, they built it up, and actually made beers out of it.
Yeah, you can test, you know, like Matt was saying, you know, pH, alcohol levels, test the aroma, see if there's mold in it. And if you have, you know, 3 Tupperwares out, you can throw the first 2 away if they smell bad or look bad or pH is up. But if this one's working out, then you can start to repitch that and start to build that up and, you know, make your own culture.
Yeah.
Now, if the first one is sour but not ready, well, that means maybe you have good bacteria here. And combine this one with the ready one and get rid of the mold one.
Right.
So it's a really cool way to
Like full circle back to what Kirk was doing first year when we were talking about like changing mixed cultures and adding certain things to get rid of other things. And,
exactly.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about the
I
blueberry?
want to jump in real
I like
quick.
it.
You guys mentioned the almost bread flavor from the wheat. There's quite a bit of wheat in this beer.
Great.
Oh, thanks, James.
There you go.
Yeah. I like this.
do
It's first of all, I like the color. I like the clarity.
Yeah.
It's a good look. It's a real nice like rosé,
Yeah,
That is awesome.
which is pretty.
How's the clarity cam looking over there?
It looked great. It's gone now, but it looked good.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of one of the benefits of kegging beers.
Yeah, exactly.
Being able to
And to you guys at home, anybody that's local to like this area, this beer is on tap at the Jersey store right now. So feel free to go there, have a sample, buy something.
Buy a bunch of
buy
stuff.
things, lots of things. The stuff.
Yeah.
You know, anecdotally, another thing we get with Philly Sour is this drying effect on the palate. It's not that it's necessarily a dry beer, but it's like I need another sip. Right? It's like
I get that.
I think it's that acid kind of.
I gotta take another
contributing to that.
sip. So and the yeast is really flocky.
As you can see.
Yeah, real nice cone.
What kind of flavors do you get
Yeah, great
from
question.
I'm like
the fermentation
nice
process?
mouthfeel, I'm getting nice coating on my tongue, but I'm also getting like some really nice bready, like dough and sort of.
Yeah, I think that red dough is kind of what we're talking about, right? Playing with the wheat and the recipe a little bit. So we actually did a webinar with some Philly homebrew folks. Remember that, Jimmy, at the start of the pandemic? It was in June we did that webinar.
Yeah, that's what I was
Launch
talking
of
about
Philly Sour.
earlier at the beginning. Yeah.
And there's a real simple recipe that
With
that we
what's
made
her name
there.
from Scott? Is it Scott Labs?
Lalawan?
Well,
Yeah, Lallman. What was
It would have been Scott Labs. Though.
Yeah.
Scott
I
Labs.
can't remember what her name was. She was super helpful. It was Rebecca.
You don't know. You don't know. Don't just guess.
Hey,
Molly, yes.
Molly, yeah. Molly's the regional sales rep. So we did a recipe for Philly Sour that's kind of like our base, like sour that we do for all of our experimental brews.
Nice.
It's mostly Pilsner malt and then 10% wheat, 5% oats.
Cool.
Just a touch of hops for bittering, 5 or 10 IBUs, and that's it.
Perfect recipe right there.
And so that's what we published it with these guys when we did the webinar. You should be able to find it if you search Philly Sour, Homebrew, in June.
Yeah, we did it on Zoom, right?
Crowdcast.
Yeah, Crowdcast, that's right. Yeah.
Isn't it on our?
It might be on our YouTube.
I think it's definitely on our Facebook.
Yeah.
So back to flavors. So that's a good recipe to I think appreciate the flavors that you're getting out of store bacteria. And with that recipe, you get I think a little bit of red apple. But what's really interesting about this yeast is if you drive acid production by adding glucose, you start to get a little bit more stone fruit, a little bit more peach. And some people have done some really fun things by playing with hops that play with that stone fruit character.
What's the highest you've gone where you've seen people go on like the sugar percentage-wise for a crystal?
I don't know. No one's actually ever asked me that question.
Wait, what was the question?
What's the highest we've pumped up dextrose?
Drive some of those.
We've tried making seltzers.
Acidity.
How'd that go?
It doesn't do well.
Really?
It makes it. It makes it. But
Even with a ton of added nutrients
I
and
think
stuff.
what ends up happening is,
What is this?
this is pure speculation.
the barrel
I
one?
think
wants to be in beer.
it's chewing on that simple sugar and it's making acid, and then when it has to start chewing on maltose, that might be when it switches metabolically to start making alcohol. I'm
Makes sense.
just making stuff up, but I think that's what I've been seeing. So
So-
when you're just in glucose, it gets confused about how to switch.
Huh.
Um,
That is fascinating.
and it does. It ends up making alcohol at some point, but it's everything we've done with commercial brewers.
You talked with Lance over at Omega or anything?
I haven't. No.
Yeah, so they have Omega has what is it called? Proper?
Yeah, they have proper seltzer starter if you want to grab it. It's
Yeah, it's
great.
I saw that.
Yeah,
on the way
it's
out.
really
people are really loving that. And, like they seem to have nailed because the whole hard seltzer thing like kind of blew up about a year and a half ago for like home brewers where people are just like, I'm just gonna get dextrose and ferment it with champagne yeast.
That's what I started doing, man. It works, but
I mean, it works,
you
but
gotta
it
hit
doesn't
it
because there's no nutrient.
exactly.
There's like the yeast just
Doesn't taste very good.
it stalls out
Your
really
bathtub hasn't
fast.
been the same since.
Huh?
I said your bathtub hasn't been the same.
I know.
Not all this talking about the Philly sour yeast, but it's time to move on.
Yeah.
All right.
We need to get back to the homebrewers,
We're so
which is
much
what
sure.
we're here for.
Come on, Omega.
I know, but let's talk about the beer we're about to try. So we got James Baker. It's a stout.
JB3,
JB3. Does it say the percentage on there?
7.8.
7.8. So it is a big one. So you don't have to drink the whole thing. But
Somebody says James is working where now?
much buggy.
I don't know. I will look it up. in a second.
Oh, it's okay. You don't have to.
And this is barrel aged, you said?
This is a barrel aged stout. We had the unbarrel aged version of this last month.
Cool. All right, so you want that's up on the clarity cam soon. So yeah, give it a smell and tell us what you think.
And also, guys, if you want your beer reviewed and talked about, like, feel free to drop them off at either of the stores in Oakland, New Jersey, or in West Philly.
Sage Alley Brewery, Cooper's Park.
First impressions after hearing that it's barrel aged, I don't pick up much barrel on that.
I think a lot of vanilla on the nose, but that's
Yeah,
about
but
it.
not much like stave or not much of a previous liquor or a wine.
With a new barrel.
James, give us some info on this barrel, bud.
I can see you don't really get a lot of oak flavor.
Not much oak, not much spirit, and not much. Yeah,
I get
guess it's the
spirit.
only
I
tip,
just
yeah.
don't get it.
Oxidation.
I can't drink barrel aged beers that much. Very sensitive. That oxidized cardboard
Yeah.
flavor and pretty common in barrel aged beers because wood is porous. The
Sure.
staves are porous. You have headspace in the barrel per chance. So I don't get that.
Yeah,
At all.
with it. So I mean, if he barrel
Oh.
aged it, maybe through some oak and
So, yeah, it's not barrel aged. It's just
Oh.
aged in his kegerator, which I don't.
What?
It's aged in his kegerator. That's all the information he gave.
Maybe threw some chips in there.
Maybe. I mean, if
Yeah.
you want to tell us any more, James,
Yeah, I would
tell us.
explain
but-
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Asian stainless steel in a sealed environment.
That's again another beauty of homebrewing.
Can we
is that you
get
grow
a
six.
some information on the specialty malts?
Yeah, what's
I feel like I'm getting some really nice flavors
it's good beer.
You get a little
from some of those roasted darker malts.
Yeah, a little bit of chocolatey flavor to it, a little bit of roast.
I feel like this is better carbonated than the last one. I think that was an issue with the last one.
Yeah, no, it is.
That thing's
stuff.
dark too. Look how
Yeah.
dark that is.
That's a good beer. I like this quite a bit.
Yeah, I
Maybe an English ale strain. I think I'm getting some nice esters.
Spill your
Round it all
secrets,
down.
James.
Yeah, let us know, James. Put it. Get it up on our chat.
He hid the keg in the back of his kegerator and he forgot about it.
Ah, so it's the old reserve.
Yeah.
It's a stainless barrel aged.
yeah.
You know, sometimes that really, like the cold crashing,
Oh yeah.
really makes a huge difference. like over time, especially with bigger beers like this.
I try and stress it to
Just
customers all the time.
Yeah.
Don't rush.
Just I find the flavors of beer just change over time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, how flavors kind of mold together, become more of one. Like you can, it's the same thing with wine. You can take a taste of fresh wine. It tastes a lot like fresh fruit.
Yeah.
When you age it, it starts to become a little bit more marmalade.
Yeah, all the
Flavors
tannins
come
kind
out.
of meld together.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I had a 4-tap kegerator at my house for myself, just making 20 gallons of beer every day, I'd pour beer like Monday, and then 3 weeks later I'd pour the same beer, and I'll be drinking the beer throughout. And it was just like one day it was just like just totally different.
Huh.
This is a whole different beer. Like it just transformed over the cold pressing. I guess technically that would be lager in a way, even though it's still an L fermentation.
Well, it's still cold storage.
Yeah.
But James mentioned there's chocolate malt, black malt, and 120 alcohol.
Oh, okay, so that
Yeah,
120
some of your
alcohol
face.
brings that caramel in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of tastes like a.
I was
Big
remember it's dark chocolate, is it like normal chocolate malt, or
That's a good
is it
question.
like kiln chocolate or like lighter chocolate?
What kind of chocolate you got, James?
You can ask him.
Yeah, you can ask him. Yeah.
What kind of chocolate you got?
Spill your secrets, James.
Yeah.
Drop your resume in there too, alright.
Oh, don't do that.
Right?
James is a great guy. I love James.
No, we all love JB.
I haven't really seen him enough.
Last question.
Good head retention. Where you
Yeah, no, it's still sitting there.
Funny story about
Good
James
beer,
Baker
man.
once.
Nice job, James.
I have beer on the roof of my car. It's like 3-foot letters. He saw me from the top of the skyscraper and ran down and caught up with me in the city.
Oh my
He's like, I thought I saw your car from up there.
That's funny. Yeah, I always like whenever I would help customers write recipes on stouts, I would always do that. What I call the rainbow of caramels, like starting with a lower caramel and going all the way up to black
Nice.
malt. You know,
Nice.
besides just hitting a little black and a little chocolate, like get some caramel in there too, and it
Oh,
gives
yeah.
that rounded,
Mhm.
that rounded edge that you're kind of getting in on.
Yeah.
More nuance, you know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab the other one. This kind of big one, so if you guys want to dump it out, let's go for something completely different here.
Yeah, we need a
Something
soundboard or something.
completely
Yeah.
different.
I need a soundboard or something.
Ah, there's
What
something
could it
completely
be?
different.
What do you got there?
We got
It's a wine.
a Irish red ale.
Just orange juice, man.
It's a Femme Fatale
Like,
by Kevin. I can't say his last name.
how do you spell it?
It just kind of looks
That's how
like
you
a
know it's good.
squiggly line.
Kevin McLaughlin. It's very clear.
What are you talking about, Gary? That is like cursive, and all it looks like is this. Whatever. We'll put that on clarity camp. Make up
We'll
your
see
own.
how damn clear it is.
Don't
see
stop
how clear
teaching
it is.
kids how to do cursive.
Just don't send him an email. Maybe we'll cross out his email before you put it on.
Everybody at Nick. Adam.
At Nick,
I'll be
you
right
can't read. I shouldn't be reading the names of these people.
Hashtag borderline or literally.
Oh yeah.
All right, so an Irish red ale.
How red is it?
Only a 12 ounce.
It's pretty red, man.
Probably one of the toughest categories, I think, to try to like nail.
Yeah, it's hard to pin
Have we
that
ever
down,
brewed
man.
an Irish
Yeah,
red
for
before?
sure. And I just remember like just staring at the software and going, "Is this going to turn out to be a red ale?"
Yeah, 'cause it needs-
It's just an
Kinda
amber.
has to turn
Yeah,
out the
it's,
right color.
the SRM, like really just in that. I forget exactly the number, but I feel like it was like 17 or 18, like
Mhm.
SRMs, which is super tough to hit, like on any kind of level. Like you really got to dial in your specialty malts
Yeah, if you're gonna call it like a red beer,
and make sure you don't like overcook in your kettle to like color it more, all sorts of stuff.
Hey, Matt, if somebody wanted to buy your book, where would they buy it?
You can find it on Amazon. You can go through Wiley as well.
That's the publisher.
Yeah.
Take it on down.
Good though, man. That was in that range.
So, if you're online, Kevin, we're always curious of what you use for the coloring of this.
Push over to the clarity cam here.
Yeah, what's it? What type of malt did you use to get your color? Pretty good on the red.
Ooh, our level looks pretty big. Got some cascading bubbles.
Get a little more,
Little
but that's
orange.
pretty red.
Could
It's
get
a little-
it's
it's a
little orange.
This is an Irish red.
orangey,
Yeah.
right?
It is a
Tough
little
to hit
orange.
Yeah.
that red color.
I like the little roasted barley, right? That's the key. Like roasted barley at like.
I don't know the style well enough, to be honest.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in a 5-gallon batch, it was typically 2 ounces of roasted barley would turn that.
Hit it with a little roasted barley.
Yeah.
2 to 4.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It smells a little.
How about yeast? That's going to be like an Irish specific yeast, or is it like American ale yeast?
You'd use an Irish. Irish. There's a tartan from Imperial's really good.
Martin or Irish ale from White Labs.
Yeah, Scottish ale's pretty close. I mean, I guess
It smells. This actually smells like it's more of that tartan Scottish.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost on a. It's got a little fruity character to it, where Irish red shouldn't.
A little bit of raisin on the.
Yeah, it's not quite Belgian-y, but like if you ever had like
It's there though.
yeah, if you ever had the tartan or the Scottish ale yeast, it's kind of
Yeah, I know.
yeah, it's a little more fruity, like 30 shillings.
Decent flavor.
I think so too.
Good
I
beer.
like that. Like, it has a nice little malty profile to it. Finishes with a little bit of bread in the end, not a lot, and then it kind of cleans off.
I would after tasting this, I would absolutely rename this Scotch ale.
Yeah.
I mean that's Irish ales are a little bit more dry too.
Yeah.
I mean this nails Scotch ale.
A little more floral.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I get a lot in the nose, but
Good
it's
beer.
not hops, and it's not like Belgian yeast. So
I agree.
It's like right in the
Nothing
middle.
else to add. Very good. Great beer.
I like too when people just blurt outside styles.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Craft
What was the ABV on this?
oh man, I gotta get watermelon in that, but I'm like embarrassed to say it.
Oh, it's interesting.
Oh, it's coming. The watermelon's coming.
No, I tasted it here.
Now that
5.7.
you've said it and it's biased my
Yeah.
flavor, I think I taste that too.
Right?
It's
On the back, like it's what's sitting on my palate.
not a bad thing.
Kind of like
Yeah,
a
that
nice
is
very
spring
enjoyable.
Scottish ale.
I just didn't want to
Yeah, right, yeah.
That was crazy.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you are crazy.
Right.
But we can move on to the next.
Answer your question though, just about 5.8.
Yeah, I can't
Cool.
get that out
Oh,
of my
really?
head, right?
Really not.
Man, it completely changed the flavor of that beer after you said it.
Thanks for not leaving it.
Yeah, man.
Pretty dry finish too on that.
Yeah. That's cool beer.
So we have 3 beers. We'll do 3 beers left. I think we got the 2 specials that me and Nick brought. And we'll grab
Well, we should do at least 2 more. Like, if we have to put off the uniform beer, we can put off the uniform. But, I mean,
We're all
Yes.
I
backstage.
do really want that to taste the uniform beer.
We
Because
can
it is,
put
it's
that on
got
the
some stuff
Patreon.
going, it's got some
Patreon
stuff
account.
going on.
That's the only thing.
also we're running out of glassware. There's that.
I mean, if you guys can kill time, I can wash some real quick.
Yeah, you want to watch like 12 glasses? That's 2
Who's
more.
gonna
Are
run
there,
our soundboard though?
Are there any more Philly sours in there?
We have one, right?
I brought the full land.
So
I definitely have a couple more questions for you.
Matt brought another blueberry, but he didn't want to compete with
I wish I had more at home and I was moving too fast and I wish I brought more next time.
That's okay. We'll have you on again.
So this is
You just gotta find another yeast out there.
What's that?
You just gotta find another crazy yeast out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have a big library. It's just this was the really unique one, you know.
So, but I'm gonna do this because it says Hefeweizen on it, and that clearly is yeah, right. So I'm gonna pour this as it's supposed to be poured.
Was that how it's supposed to be poured? Did you ask the person that made the beer?
Well, it's not. I mean, well, it's a Hefeweizen, so I would hope so.
I do love the look of this beer off of that.
That helped it a lot, too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, what's up with that label? Is that like
That's like, well, that's 50% wheat on that.
El Jefe.
Is that what they call it?
Look,
Yeah,
look,
this
he
is
kept the
his
foamy one for himself. Look at
No,
that.
no. This is going to
clarity
this
can.
is clarity. Clear.
He always
Sponsored
keeps
by
the two
you.
best
I
ones.
was gonna
You
say.
know how to put clarity cam on?
Nope. I'm just gonna put it in there and then.
I'll put clarity cam
Yeah.
on because I don't want to lose that head.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right.
Yeah, it is.
I'm jumping in the editor seat over here.
Gosh, any breweries, but I was at one recently.
Not the bashing any brewery.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna name
Oh,
the
shit.
brewery. But anyway,
This-
I was at this brewery and I ordered a Hefeweizen. so thirsty one because you don't see them a whole lot. Like they're
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a style that people would stop making.
It was cool like 8 years ago.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was just like, man, I want to have bite so bad. It was on the menu. You know when you're just in the mood for the style.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it. So it came. It looked like a
Pilsner.
Pilsner lager or something, and I was just like, oh boy.
No.
What's like? How do you guys do that as professionals in
It's
a kegging environment?
Style.
Is it kegging environment?
Yeah, well, you can't, right?
So, I mean,
You-
how do we keep it like hazy basically?
Yeah.
I mean, no finding is number one thing.
Yeah, but I mean, cold crashing is still going to drop it.
Not crash it. We crash it to like in the 40 range instead of all the way to freezing.
Yeah.
It keeps more yeast in the bench,
Okay.
but still drops a cone enough that you can pull it out. Because Hefeweizen yeast is pretty like unfull.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
But yeah, those are some tricks that you can consider. Process time, like having like a pretty quick process time, like very short on aging, so
Yeah.
that the yeast is like pretty stirred up and so
Right.
a nice haze and still pull enough yeast over that you get it in the mouthfeel and it helps with the body of the product.
So in this,
So this was Andy Schreiber.
so yeah, let's talk about this beer. The aroma on it.
Definitely bananas.
Yeah, I don't really get a lot.
Yeah, I get a ton of bananas myself.
Get a little bit of like
As opposed to
clove and black.
Yeah, no other yeast.
Yeah, I get a little bit, but I'm very prominent. I'm wondering what temperature this was at. I'm getting it light. It wasn't like that the last year we had where
How about lemon? You get lemon?
Yeah, on the taste. Not in the nose. It might.
Lemon grass.
oh yeah, definitely lemongrass.
That's nice. Kind of feels like I'm in Germany.
Yeah, even with shaking it up, there's still not a ton of yeast haze, but I think it's still very good.
Clarity cam.
Did you just
Over to
you turn the clarity cam on?
It's on. No, I just turned it on.
I turned it on before.
Oh,
So
well,
you
it's,
get a second dose of it. I probably misspelled the name on it.
It's a good beer, man.
It was rough.
all right. How was the beer?
It's a missing style these days.
What's
I mean,
that?
That's a nice
And,
version.
and it's because it's tough, like it takes a lot of trying to think of the word for it.
I like that a lot.
The thing I think about like the German traditional Hefeweizen or Dunkelweizen, they've been doing it for hundreds of years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know,
But it's
they've
a
got a process.
It's a big process, and you have to stay on it because it's a huge different process than your normal beer production.
Right.
So like, your ales, your lager, your IPAs, they all have a process, but a lot of them are pretty similar. Once you get into something like a Hefeweizen, you want to nail that style.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, this is kind of Germany
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
You have to nail, and you really have to be like diligent on your temperatures and all your techniques to do it right.
Make sure you have
everything
German
all the way
ingredients.
back to your recipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very good, but to be honest with you, I really like a little bit more yeast characteristic where I'm getting this very light. I'm wondering what temperature this was from.
I feel like
It almost tastes like to me it could probably be up a couple degrees.
There you go.
I get what you're saying.
To kind of bring out a little bit more of the dog and masters into it.
Yeah,
It's,
maybe
it's very clean.
maybe it's just standing out to me because
I
I
agree.
literally like you were saying I haven't had one of these beers in forever.
Yeah. I get a little
I
hot
haven't
to
had
it too.
like
It's
a
like
real
the
Hefeweizen and
I think the Schneider Weiss like dry hop version.
I think it's
Nice.
a little lighter body too. Then I'd like that thicker mouth
Yeah.
feel, and a
Yeah.
little more on your
almost
palate,
syrupy. Yeah, right.
you know.
Whose beer is this, guys?
That could be water.
Andy-
You know, there-
Andy Schreiber.
Andy Schreiber. It's called a Southern style Hefeweizen.
Actually, he's got a cool label on here. Let's put it on the 30 cans.
But overall,
Yeah, that's
I think
rad.
it's really
Take that rubber band off.
Yeah.
All right, damn.
I want him to get good props on his label. It's pretty cool.
I agree with the thinness body. There's something there that I can't put my finger on. It's almost like a green pepper.
Yeah.
Right in the, right there.
Slight.
Yeah.
And that's taking me out of it. And I wonder if that's what I'm picking up on the nose. Chris mentioned vinyl.
Yeah, when I first tasted it, it was a little band-aidy on the end. Like I didn't. It was like either, but not really. Like it hit me at the end, and that maybe like the more peppery flavor that you're talking about.
That's the one. I wonder if my palate's changed because I've been very acute to phenols, band-aid flavors, medicinal flavors, and this is the second or third beer we've had tonight that you guys have said that, and I haven't heard.
I don't get much of that at all.
No.
A little bit, yeah.
And so
not much.
That's another thing for
It's not necessarily a negative comment.
No,
true.
yeah,
That's
that's
just valid.
yeah,
But yeast is going to behave like completely different depending on the environment.
right.
If it's given oxygen to later on during fermentation or different things like that, it's going to transform beer and create different flavors, aromas, esters that probably you didn't intend in the finished product.
And Hefeweizen yeast in particular really pays attention to your conditions of the brew. You really need the right conditions to press it out to create those clove banana flavors. Pitch rate has got to be on. I think you want under oxygenation to drive.
Yeah, it stress it a little
those
bit.
phenolic flavors, stress it around a little bit.
Temperature.
Yeah, a little warmer.
I think it's an easy beer to make. It's a very difficult beer to make really well.
And consistent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a yeast style that you guys have been able to isolate in your labs?
No,
Haven't found anything around here.
no, I've not found anything that's a really good clove phenol producer. It's usually the bad phenol producer.
Okay.
Band-Aid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Final.
Anthony, you said something just before they cut in. What
Oh no, I just think it's an easy beer to make. It's a very difficult beer to make. Very
Yeah,
well.
so like when we first started brewing, the Brewer's Best Kits were the L.D. Carlson Brewer's Best Kits. That was the Hefeweizen kit. Was the like
Standard.
you can barely pour milk on cereal. Like here, make a Hefeweizen because it was like it was two 3-pound containers of wheat LME and like a half an ounce of hops and a bag of yeast. And it was like
Yeah.
there was no grain. It was just like just do that and
That's
and
fine.
It turned out
Sounds like a good beer.
Yeah.
Well, that style is really about what we're built to do. Like over in Germany, you go to the breweries there, and they have fermenters with doors at the top where they're literally scooping yeast off the top.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're fermenters and not crash cooling to 32 degrees like you'd like to do over here.
Very good.
Yeah.
To perfect that sort of like yeast in a finished product. And then they don't force carbonate with CO2, they let the yeast actually carbonate.
Yeah, right.
So tons of different stuff going on.
That was like that was the old traditional monitoring style, right? Like just like lowering the temperature back from the diacetyl rest slowly back down to 32 degrees, capturing all that CO2, putting needle valve on. What was it called?
Spunding
Spunding
valve.
valve. Yeah.
And talking about lager, you actually segued into our next beer.
Oh!
Did that on purpose.
What are you, a
It is-
professional?
It is it's a light lager.
This whole thing's scripted, by the way.
I know. I read the script.
We worked on this all the time.
Richard- My Richard Abdel.
Rich.
Lagers are also hard to.
That is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It's the clearest.
Yeah,
It's the clearest beer.
It's 12 ounce. We're getting a little light on these last.
This is
four.
So yeah, what do you tell the
I'm good.
homebrewer at home? What do they do for temperature control for primary fermentation? That's my question.
Well, it's very limited.
For,
Very little they
for-
can.
For Jamie and Nick.
Yeah.
You guys hear that question?
But,
What?
no, I'm sorry.
He's asking about fermentation temperature control at the homebrew level.
I mean, if you really want to do it, you have to buy a chest freezer and get a temperature controller to do it. That's the best way to do it. There's other ways that they've come up with, but I
Swamp
think
cool.
that's the way that's going to give you the results you want.
There's a lot of products on the homebrew market that like can do it, but I think that's probably and they're all expensive. You know, like you can buy a 15-gallon conical jacketed with glycol unit. Like that's absolutely available for the homebrew market.
Wow.
That's all. That's $3,000. Wow.
Yeah,
But
Is that homebrew at that
You know,
point?
Craigslist or temperature controller you can get
Yeah,
for
I
like
just
$100
didn't know
bucks.
because I've seen like they make these like kind of blankets for the 5-gallon ones, right? That you can like plug in. Maybe they have a jacket, a jacket.
Well,
So I just didn't know if there was new
Well,
things that have come.
there's a couple where I've seen there's actually a new product coming out Europe somewhere. Especially one of my brother's friends that was creating it. But they have like coolers that are shaped for fermenters that you can put your whole fermenter in. They're made for like buckets.
Conchos or like cardboard?
No, they're literally coolers that you put whatever fermenter in it. So they're made for certain types of homebrew market fermenters that you usually get, either buckets or whatever. Then there's like the cooler bags that you put back like things of ice in to try to bring the temperature down. But when it all comes down to it, like sure they may work, but they're going to be so random.
Yeah.
And even if you get a chest freezer with a temperature controller, you can use that for your ales too. It doesn't necessarily need to be for your all your lagers. Like being able to hold your ale at a certain temperature is great too.
Yeah.
So I mean that's I think the best way for a home brewer to do it on the cheapest way. Sure, you could spend $3,000 on a jacketed fermenter and a glycol cooling system, but
Or find a deep
Just open the brewery if you're going to
right. Or dig a hole in the ground.
Back when I was
Well,
home.
let's talk about the beer first before we go any further.
Sounds good.
So, Mighty Chicken Brewery.
I don't know if that's a that was the
I
cap.
love the cap. Is that the bottle?
Yeah.
And yeah, you had said Richard Abdel. Oh, this is from Two Brothers.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so this is the two brothers, the two locals.
No,
Yeah,
that's
two locals. Yeah,
That's
I'm
Rich
sorry.
Cole's.
Two locals that are brothers.
That was Rich
Is that
Cole.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
And they just opened up. They're the first black-owned brewery in I think in Philadelphia.
I think you're thinking about Rich
So this is
Coyle.
commercial?
Is that not Rich?
That's not Rich. No,
Oh, is it not?
No.
No. Whoops.
Yeah, so this is not two locals.
Okay. So anyway, what do you guys have on the nose?
Honey.
Corn and honey.
Honey said,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like corn for sure.
Yeah, definitely corn.
Plastic, not vinyl.
Yeah, I get all three of those.
Maybe like a hand sulfur.
Yeah, but it's not like, I mean, I'm diacetyl blonde. But is it diacetyl?
I don't get much of that.
I don't smell butter.
No, I don't get
It's my least favorite of the night.
Yeah.
This isn't particularly light tasting.
I was expecting like a clean lager.
I mean, with that clarity in it, right?
Yeah, like
It's very
It's
good.
got a
really
crazy
clean,
sweetness
like,
to it. It's almost DMS.
like,
I was gonna
Yeah.
say it's DMS.
Yeah,
It's like
cream corn.
sweetness.
But it's not dry at all, right? I mean, at least I don't think.
Yeah, if you're getting a lot of DMS in this, make sure you're getting a real good vapor off your boil.
Yeah,
It's not
make
just
sure you're
back
getting a
in.
good boil.
Yeah, real good boil.
I think this is kind of reminiscent of Rolling Rock.
Yeah? Okay. I get that.
Yeah, I mean, Rolling Rock is the DMS.
That's their thing, yeah.
It is their thing.
Yeah. If they say open a Frank can of Rolling Rock or thing corn.
Matt, we got a question for
Not
Matt.
corn, but there's a little bit.
How does Philly Sour change or mutate after pitching it a few times? Is that recommended? Do you not recommend that?
Can repitch it.
Your mileage varies,
There
kind
have
of
been
thing.
a lot of reports of inability to repitch the commercial product. And we've been investigating it in the lab. Not clear to me yet if it's an issue with kind of the way the yeast was prepared for drying, and when it's packaged and brewed with, its physiological state has changed, so it has a harder time kind of jump starting. But we've repitched GY7B, our original lab isolate, I think up to 6 times before it got contaminated. The crazy thing about Philly Sour is it gets contaminated with brewer's yeast because it's a little slower of a fermenter. That it's not as efficient at utilizing those sugars than your typical ale strain. So if you got anything floating around, it kind of crushes it eventually. We tried a whole lot of co-fermentation trials. Didn't work out great. So if you're going to use a different yeast for it, like a Belgian Saison works really nice with it, start with Philly Sour, pitch that Saison after souring.
So after like day 3 or something, day 2.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you can reuse it, but I caution that I've heard reports of with the commercial lot not souring after pitch.
So that's what you would see going is the acidity starts to drop a little bit.
And then you just have a run-of-the-mill
It
fermenter.
kind of speaks to the rarity of that strain, being able to isolate it when you have competing Saccharomyces cerevisiae in your samples as well. To be able to pick that specific yeast out. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. I mean, it comes down to kind of our techniques, right? In that
Absolutely.
plating method, is that we are able to pick those colonies
Right.
and create a pure culture.
And that early selective pressure you put on too. Probably won't push out Saccharomyces cerevisiae, but it's going to push out other stuff that's going to leave the door open for years.
Yeah, and so what I also like about Philly Sour, because
It's
it's
caught from the
concentrated
white
by
box.
ale yeast,
Oh, those are 6 months.
it's not as much of a risk
Yeah, I think so.
in commercial brewing.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And we have never seen secondary sour. So
We're only asked to
all of our commercial partners
Streams.
have saved all of their cans. We're getting no re-fermentation whatsoever in an unfiltered product.
So once Saccharomyces cerevisiae infects your strain, it's pretty much a
Isn't that crazy?
It's dominant.
Brewer's yeast is dominant.
Wow.
What a world, man.
But if you're using sanitary practices, then it would be good.
And what we don't know, like I have alluded to earlier, is we don't understand that switch between lactic acid and ethanol too. So there's something going on in the biological process where it's taking that glucose and it's pumping out lactic acid, and then at some point it switches to ethanol.
I love your answer. We don't know. There's something going on.
There's something.
Something going on.
The magic or
It's both, baby.
But when you look
Is there
at
a
like
bucket? I didn't know there was a bucket.
cost
There's a
perspective,
bus.
from a cost process perspective, though, for that, if you're doing a normal kettle sour, and then which we are, and you're using a fresh slurry of yeast to ferment that sour after you kettle it, sour it,
So-
you still
All the way
can't
up.
use that yeast anyway because it's spent
Hey, man.
like you can with normal brewer's yeast.
Right.
We've tried that in the past, and yeast will not perform. It'll die out early. We're scrambling, trying to pitch fresh yeast into it for the beer to finish off. So you're still left in that same position of my costs are the same, timing's probably the same, to grow that yeast back up, and all those things. So
Well, no, I want to
small
try it.
manufacturing
No.
samples.
I want to try this. We gotta ask the community. Because we can always drink them off camera.
Yeah, but this one has a unicorn on it. All right, so me and Jimmy are arguing here that you guys are going to have to sort it out for us.
And Anthony, you have to pay attention to what they're saying.
I'm listening. I can producer. I can do more than one thing.
I'm the producer. You need one of the
So-
chairs. You gotta get one of the chairs.
So we
Come on.
got 2 groups of glasses left, and we got a few beers here that we're not sure which ones we want to do. So we're going to leave it up to you where the next 2 beers are going to be. First one here I really want to try is Secret Savages from 3 Floyds. It's a American sour ale brewed with watermelon. It's 10.4%.
It's got a pony on it.
It's got
It's
a
a
pony
unicorn.
with a cherry tattoo on its ass and flying watermelons.
Cutie mark. It's a cutie mark. You already tested that. $1, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cutie mark. Yeah. You're like, oh,
It's really cool. I think we should try that. And we got a really cool beer that Jimmy brought.
What's
I
that?
have a backacre. This is the first blendery in Vermont who buys wort from other breweries and then blends them in their barrel house.
Kind of like Form.
Yeah, exactly. Like fermentary. And this is about 7 years old. I've had it in the basement. And then we have Brittany Schneid's generic IPA.
She just dropped that off today.
Oh, look at that. Cool. So there's that. If you're in the chat, definitely say something. I mean, I think
If she's in the chat, we got to do it.
I think generic IPA. You know,
So basically, you're going to choose between 2 different
Yeah.
Don't sell yourself short.
So
Yeah,
you
exactly.
choose between these 2, and then choose between these 2. So we're going to do one of your guys submitting, then we're going to do one of the store-boughts.
And the other one is a Belgian Stout by Snowblind 2020 Reserve by Mudhead Brewing.
That sounds interesting.
Troy.
Which you pick out?
The other
And
choice.
I know which ones I want.
Is it the other choice, Spence?
Yes, it is Troy.
Come on, chat!
We're all going to drink both of these regardless.
Oh, never mind.
So, it's just which one they get on camera.
Whatever you guys want.
You guys get
So-
2 more beers. Anybody? Is anybody out there?
So we'll give them a second to reply about that.
I think everyone just likes there's 2 choice Spences. Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a common name.
Which one?
Just 2 choice Spences.
Wait. Oh, there it is 2 choice
Yeah.
senses. That's right.
They're both
So-
active.
So is this the
That's the Jersey choice, man.
This is the This is the like.
He made that big old quad.
I know Troy. He's pretty. He's like Blade.
Yeah, Troy's good. Troy's cool dude. I mean, I like this Troy too.
He's in the chat.
I think only Philly Troy is here today. I don't believe.
This will be recorded, right, and accessible.
Yeah.
We should do both of them.
Both the homebrews. We really want to try these. Okay. So
Yeah, I mean,
what you have to say about this one
On camera.
We've got one vote for the watermelon.
Join our page.
Oh, we got one vote for watermelon
Oh,
sour.
there it is.
Well,
People are curious about this. I was curious
like
about it.
one there.
Yeah, do they want to buy
These beers
it?
just stay.
I mean, they'll come out next time.
These beers just stay, and then next month we'll do them again.
That's all I got.
So we got generic IPA or we got Belgian Stout. I personally don't like Belgian Stouts, so if that sways anybody,
Oh,
a certain way.
Belgian stout it is.
I've never even heard of that.
All right, Belgian Stout it is. All right, Brittany was the freshest beer.
Yeah, so
yeah.
It'll be fun for next
that
month.
was was Smith last time.
I still think you should pop the homebrew. Yeah, I agree.
All right.
They are a guest.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah. If Chris would have said that, I would have just said that.
Yeah.
But
All right, what's first then?
Stout. No, the IPA.
Oh, there you go.
woo-hoo.
Second guessing here.
Keep the guest happy.
You just throw. You know, I do got to sweep
Keep
up.
the doctor
Give
happy.
me a fucking break.
Okay. I mean, while you're sweeping, you might as well mop too.
No, but
Will Hell.
Well.
In spirit.
no, I'm leaving as soon as this is done. I'm gonna grab a slice and hit the road.
I brought a sandwich to eat before I leave.
Yeah, time for
I like when you order food during the podcast.
It's never gone well.
That's only after hour 5. So we had, I don't know if you know, but like this whole thing started from back in November. We did a homebrew competition, a pandemic homebrew competition.
Yeah.
It was like,
Is this the IPA?
Everybody's doing live streaming, so let's do the judging on live stream. We'll
Roll over
Live
on
stream the
this.
judge.
We'll bring 50 beers.
and then we didn't realize there was
Horrible
like
idea.
50 beers entered, and it was only me and Nick and Chris, and we were like,
But we had somebody else, didn't we?
No, it was me and Jamie drinking beer with you guys.
no, it was all.
It was just you on camera. Oh no, it was Chris's buddy Matt. I think.
Oh, Matt
Oh,
was
that's
there.
right. We don't remember.
It was musical Matt.
But
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
it was this, but for 5 hours.
And all big beers, too.
Yeah, it was mostly big old.
It was all winter beers, so it was like 90%, like 10% or 9% beers.
Yeah, it was wild.
It was a triumph to
Got us to where we are now. So where are we right now? What do we got here?
This is generic IPA.
The generic IPA by
Generic
Brittany.
What's up?
Brittany Schneid.
Any hops on the notes or anything?
Hey, Brittany, if you're in here, let us know. Let us know what's up.
It's good. I like it. It's got a lot going on. It's got a lot of caramel malts, I feel like. But overall, like, production-wise, it's not have any, like, real oxidation.
I feel like it's like borderline. I mean, it's more West Coast IPA than any other IPA right now. So
Might be
Yeah, totally.
misbranded a little bit, but
I do like the bitterness of it.
yeah,
Taste
it's
is
good.
there, the aroma. I don't like.
You don't like the aroma?
It reminds me of early Daddy Fat Sacks, which is our West Coast IPA. And we used to have a lot of caramel malt. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but we had caramel malt in it. We've since dialed that back to like 0, right?
It's been spelled.
We dialed it back to mine.
Dialed it back to 0, but this tastes great, man.
It's a good beer, yeah.
It reminds me of that.
Yeah. It's like an old classic West
Yeah,
Coast
yeah.
IPA. Bitterness.
Yeah, and
Forward.
Yeah.
I like that. Getting some, like, tangerine.
Yeah, we've been talking about missing that, like the bitterness value of IPAs.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, more and more.
I do love the bitterness.
nice.
I like how
Yeah.
Jordan's always explained bitterness is a flavor that you don't like. I was like, but every time you'd say it, I'd be sitting in the back office.
Wrong.
I'd be like, flavor.
I got a six
What's
pack
wrong
of.
with me?
I got a 6-pack of Southern Tier 2-time IPA last night. Just classic West Coast IPA.
That's great. I would drink more of that.
Really good
Yeah,
carbonation.
Brittany, don't sell yourself short with that
Yeah.
generic.
I put her on the spot.
Someone's like,
It's like, what's your beer called? She's like, I don't know.
You made her write the label.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Also, and for those that are still
She's
with us.
got her address on here. We can go out there and be like, "Don't sell yourself
Just
short."
sneak out there with
No,
a
just
boom
like-
box.
actually
Actually called 101 2nd Street IPA.
They're just write awesome on the label and go drop it off on a fortune.
But you're glad you weren't right on
Let's get like some Magic Cat number 9 in
Okay. A little bit of apricot.
Like,
flavor.
let's don't sell her too short.
that.
Hey,
Yeah.
pump her up.
What's that, apricot?
Yeah.
I think.
I see what you're saying.
Once you said it, I kind of tasted it.
Yeah.
A little bit of fruit.
A little bit on the
Weird
outside.
how flavor is like that. How it can really be influenced by somebody.
Oh,
This is the Belgian Stout Snowblind 2020 Reserve.
Oh, yeah, boy.
I mean, 2020, so it's not really. It's
It's
2021.
2021. We're like halfway through, dude.
I don't know how come I keep doing it, but I think it's 2020.
It's the year that'll never end.
Doesn't feel like
Every
yourself.
every day I walk in front of my students, I say, "Welcome to whatever it is." I have no idea. No idea what it is.
You tell me what day it is. I'm a teacher.
I don't know.
The older I get, the faster time goes.
Are your
It's not-
students
not
normally
fair.
like pretty juiced at what they're
I have the best students I've ever had. So I mean, I've taught a lot of different classes, courses, types of my brewer students are hands down.
So-
They're passionate, they're committed, they're there because they want to be there. I've had a lot of students tell me personal stories about how like going to classes they're escape. You know, kids who tell me.
Ooh, that's a little-
Sometimes people who
A
are
little overcarbonated, right?
say if I only knew like this existed when I was in school,
right.
and biology lab would have their ball game.
Yeah, you know, if I knew I could have gone to school for beer stuff, I probably would have actually gone to school. I skipped most of it.
Yeah, and it makes you look at how this stuff is being delivered in their
Ooh.
general
Oof.
programs as well, right? You gotta have applications.
So we got a little problem with this beer off the bat.
A little foamy.
A little foamy.
Troll!
A little overcarb, but this has also been.
No.
So this has also been sitting for a year. It's a 2020 reserve, so it's a good question of is there something infecting? But it is a Belgian stout,
We
so
do have a microbiologist here, so
Yeah.
let's see what his nose tells us.
Nice
What
clarity.
do you think, doctor? The doctor? Anything on the nose?
Normal.
Yeah.
Balsamic.
Burke call.
yeah, almost like
Molasses.
lots of molasses, lots of it.
I guess, yeah, I was getting acetic acid, but yeah, could be that.
And like bubbles are definitely like throwing that aromatic up at my
Yeah,
nose.
just
you know
beating
what I
his-
mean? Like,
beating
there's
his nose.
definitely extra bubbles.
Plum.
Yeah, I totally like that all at balsamic.
Oh, I get that.
This is
Balsamic,
it.
yeah.
Oh my God! It's an assault of CO2 on my tongue.
You gotta swirl it, man. You gotta
That
swirl it.
almost foamed up into my nose. It's got some carbonation to it.
You always-
Yeah.
Ooh, you give it, yeah, give it a swirl.
Crazy,
man.
man.
A lot of heat.
What's the
Like
ABV
beef
on this
jerky.
bad boy?
Oh yeah, this is a 11%.
Biasing
Okay, all right, yeah, it's 11%.
Never get that out of my head.
You'll never have a stout ever again.
Oh,
No, I hate
get
this.
Leather.
I don't like this.
get in plenty in that.
Mm-hmm.
It could-
I do,
Yeah,
I do get it. Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
No, it's like a black. It's almost a black licorice.
Wait,
guy.
black licorice?
Yeah.
I thought good when it was a color.
Cans, they're like different colors.
Yeah, they're like pink and white
Yeah.
candies, but they're like black licorice and stuff.
Really?
Sweet licorice.
Oh, no,
You know-
I've never eaten them.
Yeah.
I used to love them.
You're not missing. You're not
Yeah.
missing.
I really like black licorice, but I'm not a big fan.
It's because you're a sociopath.
When I try to get around this,
Black licorice?
Yeah.
jerky flavor, it's leather coating
Jerky?
flavor, and it burns. There's some alcohol burn.
There's a lot.
I mean,
I
what do you
don't
think would
mind
be
those
like
flavors
those-
too bad, but it is very prominent in glasses.
This beer's got
Well
no chill.
overwhelming.
What do you guys think is off in like the process or ingredients or something? Like, how could we help this guy out?
I think it may have been underpitched.
Underpitched
to
or
be
too
honest
hot.
with you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
too high
too
of
hot.
fermentation temperature. Definitely. That was an issue.
Maybe-
I'm getting like paint, nail polish from it a little bit.
You pushed it too hard.
Acetaldehyde? That's like the hardest.
It's so hard to pick it up for all the other flavors.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
This isn't a beer that has to be 11%.
I agree.
start stepping that back.
My question is how we got to 11%. Is there sugar in here? Was it a lot of
Probably with
molasses? You know,
Probably all the candy sugars.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, I was
tastes
gonna
like
say
a lot.
there's definitely some simple sugars.
a little soy
Pour
sauce.
some rum in there.
Very soy
And
sauce.
it's much harder, like especially on the homebrew level, to ferment a big beer.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could have the best yeast propagation as a homebrewer in the world and still take an 11% gravity beer and not be able to.
Yeah.
I mean, with a huge oxygen issue, like being able to oxygenate that wort properly to get that yeast production while it's fermenting.
And
It's
the big
really
healthy
hard.
pitch ready to go.
Yeah.
I think from the taste of it, issues aside, I think the recipe is overcomplicated.
I agree.
Whatever all the ingredients are, was
Right.
overthought. I mean, I always said, if you're gonna go for something spiced or something, if you're gonna do something in a beer, keep it to one.
Yeah.
2 at the max.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a couple things. There might be molasses in here. There might be sugars in here. There might, it's just there's too many ingredients in here to really be able to tell what.
And I wonder if you
Right.
call it a Belgian Stout. I wonder if it's supposed to be a quad.
Right.
There's not a lot of Belgian character in it.
I get a touch.
Like a yeast flavor.
I get a
I
touch.
think the
Yes,
There's
yeast
not a lot
flavor.
of American.
A little,
stuff
not
in
much,
here,
but a little bit.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem is like there's so many other flavors going on with
Yeah.
the sugars and whatnot that are in there that it's covering up any of the Belgian style yeast that you would get from it.
Now, if you think this sat for another year, another 2 years, would this mellow out? No.
You can't
No
go
chance.
out the heat.
And the other problem is yeast. Once the yeast gets stressed out enough, it's going to start.
That flavor's
producing
there.
Off flavors.
Yeah, I think it would just get worse with the year.
And plus,
Oxidation,
we
houses
saw
possibly.
we saw the head that this was giving.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this
Right.
is there's something in there and it's not done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, clearly.
So it's
That's right.
it's only going to get a lot foamier.
Whether it's an
That's
infection,
true.
yeah, whether it's an infection or if it's just bottled under.
It's not attenuated.
Yeah.
If it was
Yeah.
Belgian Saison strain, it's probably diastatic. Probably fermenting.
It's been cold for the last month and a half. It's been in the fridge.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's why it didn't blow up on me.
Why don't you savor that one open, dude?
Well, we're at an hour and a half mark, so I don't know if we want to bid our goodbyes and.
Yeah, I think we should probably wrap it up. I mean, glad we didn't do last year.
We got more beers to do next month, but we still need more. So just keep bringing them in, and we will get to yours as they come through.
Absolutely.
Doing our best.
Keep bringing them in for sure.
Matt, I definitely appreciate you and Roy both of you.
Yeah,
guys
thanks for
joining us.
having us, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming down and joining us for this debauchery that we call Thirsty Thursdays.
Jimmy, we were at the 2 hour,
Thursdays,
13-minute
as
mark.
we-
We were not at the hour.
Together in one.
Definitely, if you're interested in making any kind of sour beer, get that Philly sour, experiment with it.
That's cool, man.
You can get it right here at Philly Homebrew. Buy it.
And it was
these gentlemen.
found within what, quarter mile?
Not even.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
there's
mean, it's
also-
so
And
original.
created within 2 blocks.
If you're a home brewer and you're not getting it, I don't know what you're doing. Basically.
If you've never made a sour beer, it's the easiest way to start. It won't replace a lot of the intricacies of mixed fermentations, but it's a real good start.
But it also won't
It's damn close to it.
basically stick
Yes.
to half of your equipment.
Yes.
Indeed.
So, if you
That's
want
a
to
good-
produce beers after the fact,
I don't want to cut you off. I've gotten that question a lot, though, so we don't have to worry about cross-contamination with equipment.
No, it's killed effectively with your standard cleaning. We've worked with a lot of commercial brewers to trial it. They've packaged beer, unfiltered, unpasteurized beer that had active yeast in it. It didn't re-ferment in the cans on the shelves. We've never seen it secondary sour something like
Cool.
the lactobacillus infection
Yeah.
would.
Right.
It needs that simple sugar up front, and then it's gone. So there's really not much else for it to work on. And I told you it also gets outcompeted by anything else. So
it's actually
Yeah, so-
kind of the perfect homebrew sour yeast.
yeah.
Whereas like a bacteria can sneak into your next fermentation. You're saying like a Saccharomyces comes over the top of this one. And completely,
Yep.
That's
And,
fantastic.
so it makes real nice tart beer. Again, you can throttle up the sour by adding some glucose.
That's good to know.
Tis the season for a good sour beer.
And you're accessible, right? People can email you,
Of
ask you
course,
questions.
yeah.
I was gonna say I'm just gonna leave the cell phone number in his address.
Yeah. We'll,
Nobody
put that
bothered
on
Dr.
in the chat.
Yeah, hit me up on social media. It's Brew Science. BRU Science.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah,
all-
mostly Instagram these days.
Yeah.
Does it for the
That's
craft
it.
beer.
Remember, give us a like on there so we get our ratings up. I don't think that really matters. Do it anyway.
The algorithms, man.
That's all that matters.
It makes our algorithms real nice.
Awesome.
We'll see you guys
Thank you.
in a couple weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
Bye.
Later, guys.
Cheers.